And beginning to just bring yourself into this moment, bring yourself into your practice. So first starting to think about your connection at your foundation, really feeling into the soles of your feet, finding that space where you feel open, grounded, rooted downward, and you have a nice solid foundation. Thinking about opening up the soles of the feet, spreading out the toes, pressing those feet down, and starting to create that little bit of length or spaciousness in the spine. Little shoulder roll up, back down, shoulders fully relaxed, little more length to the back of the neck. And then maybe bringing your gaze out toward the top of your yoga mat, or maybe you're allowing your eyes to float fully closed. First, just noticing if you've softened the gaze or closed the eyes, if that affects the sensation of your balance or the connection at the soles of your feet. And then readjust in any way that you like, changing the width of your stance or how much bend you have into your knees or the connection at the soles of the feet. And again, here with soft gaze or eyes closed, feeling that strength and foundation in our first Tadasana. And then just doing a little body check-in here, noticing anything talking to you this morning, needing a little extra attention, extra stretch, anything else. All the soft tissues, joints, bones. And then checking in with the breath here, observing a few breath cycles just as they are. And then with hands and shoulders resting as they are, or if you like, left hand low belly, right hand heart center, beginning an expansion, a deepening, a lengthening of your breath, inviting the air in a little more fully with each inhale, slowing down each exhale. Taking one more really deep, expansive in-breath. Slow, complete out breath. And then settling to still a deep, but an easy, natural breathing rhythm. We'll float or flutter the eyes fully open. If you engage the hands, we'll bring the hands down to the sides. And then staying rooted, grounded through the feet, long in the spine. Open those palms out toward the sides of your space. Start to lift those arms up overhead, taking just a little bit of a back bend. Gaze in, fingertips come high, and then rotate those palms out at the top, back in neutral spine, slow lower hands down to the sides. We'll move through a few more here. Rotate palms out at the bottom, lift. Rotate palms out at the top, lower. Next time those hands lift overhead, we'll pause with the fingertips, crown of the head reaching for the sky. So not a back bend, long neutral spine, fingertips reaching. Keep the left fingertips reaching for the sky. Take your right fingertips down toward the tops of the shoulder blades. We'll bring the left fingertips toward the right elbow, either just reaching those fingertips toward elbow, or if it's in reach, go ahead and scoop the fingertips to the elbow, keeping the neck in line with the rest of the spine. So keeping that crown of the head pointing straight up. Pull that right elbow in a little closer to center line. And slow release, unwind, send all those fingertips back up towards your ceiling. And opposite side again. Maybe that hand is just reaching in toward left elbow. Maybe it comes all the way to the elbow and we gently draw that arm in a little closer. And release, reach all those fingertips long. Make sure you have a little bend into your knees. Bring the right fingertips around the left wrist. Take a big side bend to the right, thinking about lengthening left hip to armpit, maybe up into the arm. Lifting back through center, release, left fingertips, right wrist, side bend left. Lifting back to center, release the wrist, float both hands around to the low back, interlace the fingers behind the sacrum, gently draw those hands down away from the crown of the head. And letting those hands draw back in, relax toward the spine. Unlace the fingers, bring the hands to the sides, give them a little shake. Bring your feet just slightly wider, heels turned in just a little, toes turned out just a little more bend into the knees. We'll bring the hands to the hips and we'll come back into another side stretch, but as a little flow. So leaning to the right, take a deeper bend in that right knee, release the left hand, reach it up overhead, pressing gently to the sole of the left foot, left knee straight. Flowing back through center, slide that left hand down, press into right foot, lean left, left knee bends, right hand reaches. And moving side to side, you can stay with this nice slow movement, really feeling the stretch through the lateral line, side body, or if you want to move a little faster, maybe a faster side to side movement. And taking one or two more, finding balance. Landing back in the center, and we'll heel toe the feet all the way back in for mountain pose. Take a nice generous bend into the knees. Slide the hands around to the fronts of the thighs. Slow melt over to a forward fold. So soft knees, soft spine first. Taking a little movement, pressing into one foot and then the other, bending the knees, shimmying the hips, maybe moving the neck or the arms. And finding stillness, pressing up to your half forward fold. Check in, looking for that long neutral spine, sits bones opening up and back, crown drawing long from tail. And if you can keep the spine neutral, you want a little more, maybe float heart a little closer to your mat.
Another deep inhale here, big exhale to release, surrender over to forward fold. Keep a nice big bend into both knees. Take the left fingertips or palm to the mat just in front of the gaze. Twist to the right as you deeply bend the left knee. Slide the right hand to the hip or release it overhead. Take a few breaths here, thinking about trying to invite that right shoulder higher toward your ceiling. Take a big inhale. Use your exhale, move back through forward fold. Inhale, twisting left, right knee bends, left elbow or hand rises. Using breath as is comfortable, increasing the twist a little more each cycle. Wait for an exhale. Use an exhale. Unwind, forward fold. Inhale to sweep up, hands overhead, upward hands post. Pressing into the feet, lift, bring the hands overhead and pause. Either shoulder distance between the palms or palms gently resting together. Take a few breaths thinking about stretching the entire front line of the body. Feet stay firmly rooted, a little bend into the knees. Maybe a little more back bend with each breath. Lifting back, long neutral, fingertips reaching directly overhead. Interlace the fingers, flip those palms to press away from the crown of the head. Reach long and take a side bend to the left. Reaching long in center, side bend, opposite. Lifting center, we'll unlace the fingers, sweep the hands back around to the low back and interlace. So same version we did the first time. If you like, those fingers are drawing opposite direction of the crown of the head or starting to peel those arms up away from your spine. If we're lifted in the arms, starting to draw them back in. Letting hands fully relax down toward tailbone. Unlace the fingers, hands come to the sides, give them a little shake. Hands slide around to the fronts of the thighs, deeply bending the knees. Slow melt over, forward fold. And again, find that forward fold and then just take any little extra movement or breath that feels good. Find stillness, press into the feet, half lift. Check in with hips, legs, spine. Pause here for a moment, or if you like, add airplane arms. Palms float beside the hips, palms facing the earth, and then maybe here, again, lift those arms a little higher from your spine. Slow release, surrender down toward the floor and take a big sweep up again to find upward hands pose and pause. Little space between the palms or palms resting together. Little back bend, gazing past the hands, stretching front line of the body. And then lift back to neutral spine. Put the hands together, draw them down toward heart center. Interlace the fingers, flip the palms to press away from the heart. Round the spine, press hands away, gaze down, stretching back line of the body. Let the hands draw down toward the front of the pelvis. Lift back to neutral spine. Unlace the fingers, bring the hands to the thighs. Take a nice bend into the knees. Melt over, forward fold. This time walking both hands over toward the outside edge, outer edge of your mat, outer edge of the right foot. Walking, reaching back through center. Opposite side. Walking, reaching back through center, press into the soles of the feet, lift upward hands. This time, bringing the hands together overhead, drawing those hands down through heart center, and we'll bring the hands back to the hips for a moment. Grounding through the left foot, we're gonna lift the right heel and slide that foot about halfway up our mat, moving toward a warrior one. So ground through that right foot and then rotate your left toes out a little bit. So that foot's at about a 45-degree angle. Find that nice deep bend into the right knee, and then try to draw that left side of the pelvis forward, right thigh back, draw tailbone down toward the earth. Pull the low ribs in, and then we'll bring the arms up overhead. And then take the fingers, interlace to the base of the skull, elbows reaching out wide to the side. Take a nice big inhale here. Keep the lower body as it is. As you exhale, pull the navel toward the spine, round and look down. Elbows come together in front of the head. As you inhale, open the heart, open the arms, lift the gaze. Exhale, rounding forward, elbows reach in front of you. Inhale, open the heart, stretch the fronts of the shoulders, elbows drop back. Flowing once more each direction. And then finding your way back to warrior one. And we'll press into that front foot, straighten the knee, sweep the hands around to the low back pyramid. Hands resting gently to the tops of the glutes if you like, or interlace the fingers. Hinging from the hip, folding forward, pausing just before the spine starts to round. Long but not locked in the knees, crown gently drawing away from tail. With your next exhale, surrender over soft spine, head melting down toward right knee, keeping the hands as they are if you like, or with fingers interlaced, lifting hands up away from your spine. If hands are lifted, starting to draw hands back in toward the spine, and we'll lift up halfway. So coming back to that long spine variation. We're going to slide the hands around to the right thigh or right shin and find a revolved pyramid. So left hand comes across center line and we bring it to the outer right thigh or calf or ankle. And we twist the heart open to the right as the right hand slides to the hip. If you like, you can bring it overhead. Slow unwind, heart back down toward the floor, slide that right hand down, and then lift yourself back to warrior one, bending the front knee, lifting the torso, bringing those hands overhead. We'll bring the hands back to the hips for a moment. Rock your body weight back a little bit. So most of your weight is in your left foot. Slide your right foot back to meet your left. Rotate those left toes in. We're back in mountain. Release the hands, sweep them up overhead. Take a little stretch to the front body. Exhale, dive over forward fold. Soften into that forward fold. Dangle for a moment. Move the feet, move the knees. And finding stillness, circle sweep up through upward hands. Again, feel that little opening, front body. Lift back to neutral, bring the hands to the hips. Bringing weight over to the right foot, we'll lift the left heel. Slide that foot forward, find your weight in that foot. Rotate right toes out. Take that moment to check in, find your lower body, warrior one. Bringing the arms up overhead. And interlacing fingers to the base of the skull. Navel to spine, rounding, looking down, elbows draw forward. Heart opens, throat opens, elbows draw back. Find one more opening of the heart, elbows drawing back. And then warrior one. Unlacing the fingers, sending the hands overhead for a moment. Pressing into that front foot, straighten the front knee. Bring the hands around to the low back. Decide if you just like the hands resting at the glutes or interlacing the fingers. Hinging from the hips, folding forward, pausing just before we lose that length in the spine or neutral in the spine. Releasing over soft spine, head melting toward left knee. If you like, arms lift from the back. Pressing up halfway. Hands slide around, thigh, shin, ankle. Revolved pyramid. We bring that right hand across center line. Twisting open, sliding left hand to hip. Turning heart back down toward the floor. Lifting all the way back up as you bend into that front knee. And we'll bring the hands to the hips for a moment. Rocking your weight back a little bit, finding your support in that right leg. Left leg slides back. Right toes turn in, mountain. Inhaling the hands up, overhead, take a little stretch for front body. Diving over, forward fold, deeply bending the knees, soft in the spine. Fingertips or palms come to blocks or floor in front of the toes. We're going to take a slow walk out to downward facing dog. Nice wide finger pads, pressing into fingers and palms, lifting the tail, opening the sits bones, heels pressing in the direction of the earth. Tiny bend in the elbows, tiny bend in the knees. Actively pressing both heels in the direction of your surface. And then release. Slow reach one foot at a time toward your surface. Pedal or walk your dog. And finding stillness. Root down through both feet, left fingertips and palms. Start to slide that right hand back toward the center of your mat. We're going to reach it across center line and bring it to the outer left thigh or calf or ankle, opening the heart up a little bit to the left. Release that right hand, slide it back out. Connect through all 10 fingers, both palms, and stretch the calves, both at the same time or pedal. And release, find stillness if you're not already there. Find that connection at your right hand. So left can slide back across center line, outer thigh or calf or ankle. Heart opens to the right. Release, slide that hand back. Connect both sides. Pedal the feet or press both heels toward the earth. And then feel into your connection or your foundation just at your right toes and ball of the foot. We're going to inhale the left leg back for tail of the dog. So let that leg stretch back long in any way that feels good. Maybe hips are square, maybe they're not. Maybe you're pulling through the toe, maybe you're pulling through the heel, but just let it reach long behind you. And then we'll step that foot all the way forward toward low lunge. Bring your hand to support ankle or calf as you like. Lower the right knee. Untuck the toe. We'll bring the hands up overhead for a moment. And then taking a little twisting movement here. So keeping that lower body just as it is. Take a big inhale in center, reaching through fingertips and crown. And then twisting open to the left. Float the hands down. Twisting through center, lift. And opposite side, hands float down, and we'll take one more each side. After that last time, opening to the right, we'll come back to our low lunge. We're going to bring the hands down inside the left foot. Tuck the right toe, lift the knee. Start to walk your hands toward the center of your mat. Bring your right heel down. Turn your left toes toward the long edge of your mat. We're moving toward wide leg forward fold. So when you get there, just check in. Those toes are equidistant from the long edge of your mat. Adjust as needed. And we're going to let the arms dangle down toward the earth. Fully soften and release into the spine. Let your crown draw down toward your floor. And then pressing up halfway, finding long spine, crown reaching from tail. We're gonna walk both hands over toward our left foot, trying to keep our hips fairly square and center. We're gonna keep those right fingertips reaching out toward the left foot. If you feel like it's in reach, you can bring the right hand to the outer left edge of the foot or ankle. And then we're gonna twist open a little more to the left, bring your left hand up to your hip or send it overhead. Slow release. Release that right hand, slide the left hand down. Both arms, again, dangling down toward the center of the mat. Fully release into the spine, crown softens down toward your floor. And lifting up halfway. Hands walk to the right. Keeping that left hand drawing toward the right side of your mat, or if you like, bring it to lateral foot or ankle. Twisting open. Decide what placement you like for that right arm, coming to the hip or bringing it overhead. Slow release. Hands come down, soft spine, crown dangling toward floor. And we'll find our way back to a low lunge. So come up about halfway, find some support in your fingertips and your palms. Start to walk those hands toward the top of your mat. We'll rotate the left toes forward, lift the right heel, lower the right knee, untuck the toe. Plant the right hand inside the left foot, engage the left inner thigh to keep the knee over the ankle, and take a revolved low lunge here. Again, hand to hip or send it overhead. Slow release, heart turns back down toward the floor. We're gonna keep fingertips connected to our mat or grab your blocks, finding our way to half split or half monkey. So fingertips on your floor, take blocks with you, or if you like, hands onto the front thigh. Root down through the sole of that left foot, press straight into the front knee. Right sits bone drawing directly back toward right heel. And we stay long in the spine for a moment. And then allow yourself to draw back, left toes lift, spine softens, head draws toward knee. Starting a slow walk forward. Option to pause about halfway between those two shapes, transition back to a tabletop, and then find your down dog. Or coming all the way forward to low lunge. Tuck the right toe, lift the knee, slide that left leg back. You can come right to down dog, or you can send it long for a tail of the dog again, feeling a stretch. And then downward facing dog. Pedaling the feet, stretching the heels, taking any movement or breath that feels good. Finding stillness, Finding your foundation in your left foot, right leg rises. Again, just feel it stretch long for a moment. Starting to step it forward, finding your low lunge. And long spine, long fingers. Twisting open to the left, hands float down. Ooh, I started opposite. Let's see if I can remember. 2 times each side. Twisting open to the right, hands float down. Once more, each direction. Hands reach for a moment. We'll bring them down inside the right foot. Tuck the left toe, lift the knee. Start to walk hands toward the center of the mat. Left heel comes down, right toes turn in. Level out your feet. Releasing soft spine. Crown of the head dangling, arms dangling. Pressing up, halfway, side lunge. Root through the outer edge of the right foot. Walk your hands to the left, deeply bend the left knee. Activating the outer edge of the left foot, pressing that leg long. Pause in center, release down toward the earth. Pressing up, halfway, side lunge, second side. Pressing into that right foot, coming to center, release, neck, back, shoulders. Pressing up halfway, coming back toward low lunge. Hands walk to the right. We'll rotate those right toes to the front, lift the left heel, lower the knee, untuck the toe, plant left hand just inside right foot. Engage that thigh, keep the knee over the ankle, twisting open. Turning heart back down toward the floor, finding yourself on fingertips, blocks, or hands to the front knee. Pressing through that right foot, lift hips up and back. Left sit bone coming toward left heel, right knee reaching toward straight. And let yourself draw back a little further. Lift the toes, round the spine. Starting to slowly walk forward, and again, maybe pausing about halfway between those two shapes, coming back to a tabletop, and then finding down dog. Or coming all the way forward, tucking the left toe, lifting the knee, coming right to a downward facing dog, or moving through a 3-leg dog, and then finding your down dog. From this downward facing dog, bringing both knees all the way down onto your mat. We'll untuck the toes and walk the hands out a little for half plank and slow lower down to find cobra. So letting those hips come forward and down, eye of the elbow pointing forward, lowering heart down toward the space between the fingers. And as we approach the floor, belly finds the floor, heart slides forward, elbows pulling toward the back of your space. Use your low back to lift the heart, keeping the fingers light. And lift and lowering a few times here. And the next time you lift, we'll pause, activate the hands, and slide the arms out to find Sphinx. So sliding the hands out, elbows land under the shoulders, nice wide fingertips press down into your mat. Pull back toward your pelvis, lift the ears away from the shoulders, lift the crown away from the torso. And starting a slow release, back down. Head draws back towards shoulders. We relax the pressure in the arms a little bit. We'll slide the hands back under the shoulders. Press into those hands. Lift yourself up through a half plank. Lift to tabletop, and we'll come back to kneeling or seiza. So if you like props between your heels and your glutes or a block under your sits bones, go ahead and grab whatever you need. And then we will bring our hips all the way back to our heels. Find kneeling, seiza, or hero pose. And as always, for a lot of us, just being here and seated is already a stretch. So if that's us, we're gonna stay right here. If you want a little more, start to play with a little bit of a lean back, bringing fingertips to the earth, behind your glutes. Knees stay relaxed down toward the earth. So walking those hands back as far as you need to go to find a little stretch, but with breath easy and knees still down. And starting a slow lift back up, especially if you're down really low or down on forearms, walking all the way back up until we can bring the hands back around to the thighs. And we'll bring our hips over to one side, feet opposite side to come around into a seat. So scoot those props out of the way, bring yourself down onto your sits bones and send both legs long in front of you. Unless you still want your props, and then don't listen to me and sit on whatever props feels good. So for a moment, imagine rooting down through those sits bones, trying to lift toward neutral spine here as much as you can. We're gonna keep the left heel gently drawing away. Think about keeping the back of that leg long, and we're gonna slide the right heel in toward the right glute. We're gonna take the left hand across center line to the outside edge of the right foot. Press the right foot into the left hand, lifting the heel. We're gonna try to press that heel away, coming to long but not locked in the right knee. And then if we have space, we're gonna try to twist that belly a little more into the right thigh and slide our right fingertips to the earth behind our glute, or reach those fingertips out long, arm parallel to the floor. Still trying to root through the sits bones, stay long in the spine.
And starting a slow unwind back toward the front, bringing that right arm in, starting to twist back toward the front, lower that right heel back down, release the left hand, slide that leg long, and then give both legs a little shake or a point flex from the ankles. And then we'll keep right heel reaching long, slide that left foot in, right hand across center line, outer edge of the foot, press foot into hand, start to lift the heel. Play around with how much length can you get here? Can you send that heel all the way away till the knee is long but not locked, or maybe it's somewhere in between? And then have you already found the end of your twist, or do you have space to twist a little further? Maybe bringing left fingertips to the earth, arm behind you, and then again, trying to stay rooted through those sits bones, long through your spine. Slow unwind back toward the front. Lower that heel, release, send both legs long. Take a little shake to the legs. Point flex from the ankles. And then we'll bring the knees out wide, soles of the feet together for seated bound angle. And let's do whichever version feels right to you in this moment. So this could be long neutral spine, could be rounded spine, or it could be a couple breaths long, and then softening over into your rounded fold, whatever arm variation feels right. So just really make it yours. Feeling a little more stretch head from tail if you like, or a little more rounding and releasing forward. Slow lifting all the way back up. And we'll lift the knees, bring the soles of the feet to your mat, slide yourself forward so you can come down onto your back. Finding a half corpse pose, so spine fully relaxed down onto your mat, ankles and knees same distance apart as your hip joint, heels pulled in pretty close to the glutes, but not so close that you could touch them. We'll bring palms face down on either side of the pelvis, lifting toward bridge. So activate the soles, activate the palms. Imagine lengthening your tailbone toward your heels, and then slow lift, keeping that sense of length. So your tailbone eventually is pulling toward the space between your knees, softening head, face, neck. And then imagine that you could traction your knees away from the rest of your body. Lift your pelvis a little higher. Could you find a subtle stretch for the front of the hips? Starting to slow lower spine all the way back down. And when you get to the bottom, take a little movement, knees to chest pose or windshield wipers. And then setting yourself up for one more bridge. This could be the same variation if you like, or option to roll your arms under and take a little stretch for the fronts of the shoulders as well. So starting the same way, trying to keep that sense of my spine growing long as I lift.
Find the top of that bridge, gently tractioning knees away, taking a little more lift to the pelvis if you like, stay here, or sliding the hands under the sacrum, interlace the fingers, rolling the shoulders under the body, and then pressing those interlaced hands down into your mat. A little more lift for the hips, a little more opening for the chest, still relaxed in neck and face. If you're in arms underneath variation, go ahead and roll those shoulders back out. Unlace your fingers, ground through fingers and palms. Slow lower back down. Again, when you get to the bottom, take a little movement as feels good. Knees to chest, windshield wipers, maybe a happy baby. And finding stillness. Bringing right sole of the foot down to your mat. Find your figure 4. Left ankle, right thigh. Sliding right heel in toward the glute, or lifting it up onto a block if you've got one, or drawing those legs into the belly. Maybe hands come to right hamstring or shin. If you're really actively pulling those legs in, make sure you're also gently reaching your left knee away, pulling toes back towards shins. If you're not there already, slow release, right sole of the foot all the way back down to the mat. Leave the left ankle as it is. Heel toe the right foot just off the right edge of your mat. Let your legs fall to the left, right thigh falling to the center of your mat. Gently drawing navel into spine, lifting the knees, heel toeing right foot back in line with the right hip. Unwind the left, press into both feet for a moment, just lift into little bridge, bringing hips and spine back down in center. And then find your figure 4, second side. Left heel sliding in toward glute, up on a block, or legs in toward belly. Releasing left sole of the foot down to your mat. Heel toe left foot out toward the left, just off the edge of the mat, and then legs fall to the right, left thigh falling to the center. Gently drawing navel to spine. Lift the legs. Left foot comes back in line with the hip. Unwind that right foot. If it feels good, press and lift to recenter. And then take a moment here to just check in. Is there any last body area that we did not stretch this morning that really would feel good to stretch it right now? Or is there any last posture or movement that would feel really lovely to bring your practice to a close, honoring whatever that may be? And then allowing yourself to soften down to whatever shape you'd like to enjoy for a moment of stillness here. Could be fully relaxed Shavasana, could be a subtle stretch, whatever feels right. Softening, surrendering. Allowing your mind to stay present either with the sense of your body resting on your mat or your props, or allowing your mind to stay present with the sense of your breath coming and the sense of your breath going. Finding a gentle but conscious deepening of the breath, full inhales through the nose, easy full exhales through nose or mouth. Bringing movement back into your body in whatever way feels good. And eventually finding your way through knees to chest pose, bent knees, drawing into the belly. If it feels good, a little rock and roll or knee circles. And then from knees to chest pose, either letting yourself relax over to the fetal position or rolling the length of your spine, shoulder blades to tailbone. Eventually slow press or rock up. Find an easy seat. Softening through the shoulders, softening through the gaze. Taking that moment here at the end, scanning through the body, checking in. What feels the same at the end of your practice? What feels different? If you'd like, invitation to check in with breath, nervous system, thoughts, emotions. And floating or fluttering eyes fully open. Take a big sweeping shoulder circle to scoop up all the goodness of everything and everyone around you. Let those palms meet overhead. Invite all that wonderfulness
into this moment, down to your heart center. Thank you. Thank you for sharing part of your day with me, sharing part of your practice with me.